Hello there once again, YouTube. This is Matt from Android Assembly, but this time, my development partner Nick is out of town for Thanksgiving break. But before he left, we threw together this short presentation to give you a better understanding of our upcoming game, PIHT, Placed in Hell Tunnels. Back in the first YouTube video we have on this channel, we gave you guys a brief visual overview of the type of gameplay that we were hoping to achieve in PIHT. But to be more precise now, the genre that we're looking for is a third-person top-down dungeon crawler. You guys may be familiar with this game genre if you ever played the classic arcade game Gauntlet. This type of gameplay hasn't really been touched in the recent years, and we're looking forward to bringing it back. The main target platform that we've been developing for so far is the PC, but we're eventually going to branch out into the 360 marketplace to kind of give us a deeper root into the gaming industry. Alright, right about now you guys are probably asking yourself, what's the point of this game? What am I going to be doing? What's the appeal? Well, let me give you a little background of the story. Just give me a second to put on my announcer voice. When the castle of Bathos Elfins rose from the earth on the outer edge of Elshire, our hero must take arms to put a stop to his tyrannical rule. Pick up your weapon and fight to restore peace to your homeland. So pretty much, the evil overlord Bathos Elfins rose from hell and tried to take control of your peaceful town of Elshire. You, being the hero that you are, must take arms and put a stop to this. Interesting little developer note here. If you take the letters of Bathos Elfins and rearrange them around, what do you get? Go ahead and put it in the comments if you can figure it out. Alright, moving on, we got our key features. These are the kind of gameplay aspects that help set us apart from the competition. First up, we have our maze designs. These are no longer going to be your simple navigate from point A to point B. We're going to be introducing optional door keys to unlock secret passageways, secret treasure rooms, things like that to kind of differentiate your gameplay from playthrough 1, playthrough 2, so on and so forth. We are also introducing a pretty interesting enemy AI design. They're designed to stop the player any means possible. This is done by our different spawn points, our spawn ratios, and things like that. It's going to be pretty challenging for you guys, so look forward to that. That also ties into the varying enemy types, which we're going to go into a bit more detail in the upcoming slides and in upcoming videos once we have some gameplay to show off to you guys. This also leads into our leaderboard integration, which is a pretty interesting scoring mechanic, which is something that really hasn't been seen before in a dungeon crawler. These next two slides are to give you guys a better understanding of the type of games that kind of gave us an inspiration, so to say. As I mentioned before, we have Gauntlet. We also have Shadowgrounds, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, and the most recent Gun Bros. All of these games have a dungeon crawling aspect or a top down shooting aspect to them. Um, we have taken kind of these gameplay elements from all of these games and mixed them together to a fine blend, so to say, of gameplay that we feel is going to be fun and engaging for you guys. Um, Moving on to this next slide, we got some bit more detail into what I was talking about with the types of gameplay that we might be seeing. Up in the top, we got a screenshot from Gauntlet, which shows the type of maze designs and enemy spawning that they have. This is actually an interesting point because the major downfall of Gauntlet is that the enemy AI did not know how to effectively navigate the maze designs that they had created. If you can see in the screenshot, over here in the top right and down here in the bottom left, enemies just continually spawned and took up space, and they didn't know how to move around those corners to get to the player in a timely manner. So they pretty much moved as the player moved, and they didn't know how to overcome walls or think quote unquote smartly. We planned on addressing that situation in PIHT, and hopefully adding a extra layer of challenge to the gameplay. Um, Down here in the bottom corner, we also have a screenshot from Gun Bros on the iOS. This is more to give you a better idea of the type of shooting mechanics that we're thinking of using. Um, this doesn't really have that many of dungeon crawling aspects to it. It's pretty much you spawn in, you survive wave after wave of enemies. But it's the most recent adaptation of the top-down shooting that we've been able to come across to better explain to you guys what we're trying to achieve. Now, moving on to our unique selling points, which are the main gameplay elements that help set our game apart from everybody else, and what really is the core of our game. Like I mentioned before, we have a unique scoring system which will tie your high score to your currency. We made this design choice to give the player a more dynamic approach to the way they want to play the game. This is kind of presented as a double edged sword, so to speak. No pun intended, because your character uses a sword, but you know what I mean. As you complete a level, you're going to be presented with a shop. At this shop, you can choose to spend your score to buy potions, buy power ups, attack increases, defense increases, so on and so forth. Or you can be greedy and hold on to your points to make it farther up the leaderboard. It's really a player's judgment of their own skills, so to speak. Um, it really allows the player to play the way they want, but at a sacrifice. There's no right or wrong way of approaching this game. And that's the way we want to make the player feel, is that they have the choice of how to play. The way to get points is to kill as many enemies as possible and collect all the treasure you have laid around all the different levels. Like I mentioned before, we have like different door keys that unlock hidden treasure rooms. As you kill enemies, there's a random drop rate of treasure. There's always going to be different options for the player to increase their score. Next up, we have our maze structures that was previously touched on in our key features slide. Um, that is going to be really working with our Horde AI. There's going to be different types of enemies which will utilize this type of AI. These enemies really range from uh, basic grunts walking and navigating the pathways to special types of enemies which we're still developing. We have a couple. We have the Banshee, which is able to phase through walls to kind of bypass the entire maze design to really reach the player as fast as possible to try to kill him. And we also have the ogre kind of berserk, which will be able to smash through walls to reach the player, similar to the banshee, but it will actually leaving a pathway behind him. This can add an extra layer of depth to the maze navigation because the player can really utilize the wall smashing abilities of the berserk to pretty much open up new pathways or quicker exits of the game level. Last but not least, we have a visual style, which is going to be a throwback to the golden age of gaming. This is going to be a pretty much an homage to the retro gamers out there that are familiar with the old type of arcade game style. Well, that just about wraps up our presentation for you today. This slide is going to be serving as our contact information if you'd like to reach out to us and give us a little bit of feedback or what you think about our game so far. We're going to be putting these as clickable links in the description for you if you want to click on those. Coming up at the end of this video, we're going to be including a short little gameplay demo that we have built so far of our game. Just keep in mind that these are temporary art, and we're going to be moving around a little dot because we don't have any artwork yet. But this is just going to be solidifying our gameplay for you guys. But thank you for staying tuned.